Hey everybody, this is Kelly Olsen. Can you believe this? Facebook Live? I'm so excited to be here with you this evening to talk to you about Tisha Noni Juice, my love. You know, it's really interesting. I was just talking with my son Adam about a video that I did 21 years ago at our first warehouse in Linden, Utah. This video was taken with a VHS video camera. It was about this big, and it was weeks before this video actually reached our distributors. And now here we are. The technology allows us to kind of connect live, and so that you can kind of get the message immediately, and I think it's awesome. Plus the technology now is that we're doing this on an iPhone that's this big as opposed to a big video camera. But what I want to do is, I've been thinking about this a lot, what I want to talk to you about tonight, and hopefully kind of use this time really, really well so that you'll feel like it's time well used. I feel like I'm in a position that very few people are in. There are people who know more about the science of Tisha Noni Juice than I do. Very few people, I should say. There are people who know more about the technology of our business and all of that. But I was here from the very beginning. As a matter of fact, I was here from the very first case of Tisha Noni Juice that was sold. And so I've got a perspective that very few people have, and I'd like to share that perspective with you tonight. And I'd like to tell you a few stories and make some observations, and maybe it'll entertain you a little bit, and maybe you'll learn some things about Tisha Noni Juice and Mirinda that you never knew before. But hopefully, above everything, it will spark an interest in you to drink Tisha Noni Juice. If you already are a customer, then to find somebody else. Use our current promotion that we have going on this month that I'll tell you about in just a minute to introduce somebody new to Tisha Noni Juice. If you are an old customer and you haven't kind of been with us for a while, we welcome you back. Come back. Get Tisha Noni Juice back in your life. And if you have never tasted Tisha Noni Juice before, this is your opportunity during our great month-long celebration for you to get a bottle of this amazing product and begin to get it in your life. And so I mentioned a promotion. This month is our Noni Celebration Month. It coincides with our anniversary, our birthday. We began 21 years ago, July of 1996. And so we feel like July every year is kind of our birthday, and we wanted to create a special celebration. And so we needed a special promotion to really create some excitement for this anniversary celebration. And so here is the promotion that we developed. The promotion is very simply designed so that people who have never tasted Tisha Noni Juice before can get a bottle very easily, very quickly, and begin to get the miracle of Tisha Noni Juice in their bodies. So what I want to do is I just want to tell you a little bit of, through the years, I'm not going to take a lot of time, so don't worry, but I want to tell you a little bit of how we have built the Tisha Noni brand. Because from the very beginning, this has been our goal. We wanted to build this brand because we knew the market would be flooded with Noni companies. We knew that Noni was going to become common, and everybody would want to jump on the bandwagon. We knew that from the very beginning. And so we go, okay, how do we protect ourselves? How do we protect our IPCs? How do we protect our business so that competitors are always kept away and that we have the room to grow and can always have that leadership advantage? And the answer came to us very, very quickly from the very beginning, and that is we need to build our brand, Tisha Noni, and build into that brand value so that every customer knows I'm getting the best. When I pick up this bottle and I see that label, I know this is the best product. And it cannot be counterfeited, it cannot be copied. And through the years, through 21 years of competition and competitors and people trying to knock us off and all that kind of thing, this has been the thing that has kept us growing, kept our business vibrant, and kept all of our IPC's businesses very, very strong. That is the brand that we have built into this this into the value into the Tea Shinoni brand. So what are the elements of the Tea Shinoni brand? Well, first of all, let me just talk to you about how we began. I want to talk to you a little bit about some of the players, some of the people who, even some who are no longer with us, who had significant roles to play in forming our company and delivering the message to the world about Tea Shinoni and Tea Shinoni juice. I want to talk to you a little bit about Tahiti and some other things. But first, let me just tell you about how I got started. I got my first bottle of Tea Shinoni juice that actually looked like this. This is what Tea Shinoni juice looked like in 1996. This kind of funny-looking vinegar bottle, stock bottle, paper label, very, very simple. This is what Tea Shinoni juice looked like when I received my very first bottle, and this was in April of 1996. And my wife Arlene and I started drinking Tea Shinoni juice at that time. And immediately, within a few days, we began to notice that there is a difference. And I was ensconced in another job and my career, and everything was fine. Our income was good, the family was happy, everybody was happy. But we started drinking this product and realized we had to be a part of this. And so we collectively, my wife Arlene and I made the decision that we are going to leave our former life, quit my job, and become part of the founding of Morinda, of Tea Shinoni. And so this actually made the decision in May. And so June 1st, 1996 was my first day, official day. Now we began to host IPCs who began flying into Utah to learn about Morinda, learn about Tea Shinoni juice. June of 1996 was a very, very busy month. We didn't even have our compensation plan done by that time, and so we were finalizing compensation plan, meeting with IPCs nearly every single day, and creating the business structure, all of the technology, the customer service apparatus, phone lines, auto ship, compensation, everything, so that we could be in business. And July 1st, 1996, we began selling Tea Shinoni juice. Now, it's really interesting because at that point in time, we had 0 support materials. I was the only marketing employee at that point in time. And so I had to hurry and very, very quickly design and create sales materials that our IPCs could use to introduce people to Tea Shinoni juice. So I want to show you this, do a little show and tell. This is a little recording device. This is the exact recording device that I used originally in 1996 to record testimonials of our IPCs. And so I hooked it up to the telephone, and I would call IPCs and get their testimonials off the telephone. I'd also take it with me when I went to meet with IPCs and do opportunity meetings and so forth. And this became my companion. And actually, this was the first official audio equipment of Morinda. And from this this little tape recorder came our first audio tapes. Now these are just a few, but these are the original stock audio footage of our first testimonials from Tea Shinoni juice drinkers, from those who are starting in the business, talking about the business. Also, I recorded my first interview with Dr. Ralph Heineke and Dr. Annie Hirazumi. These tapes are a precious part of my own personal Tea Shinoni museum. And so this was our first support materials. Now let me tell you, another thing that began happening is almost immediately, real seriously, within 3 or 4 weeks, there was another company, a network marketing dietary supplement company that launched their own noni product. Can you believe this? We were the first company in the world. Nobody had ever thought about it. 2,500 years of history. We launched in July of 1996. This other company launched at the end of July or the first part of August in 1996. And they started making outrageous claims that they're the ones that originated noni, that they're the ones that created the formula, and so on and so forth. And so we began, so I just want to show you some really interesting, these are from my archives. These are some really interesting support materials that I created in 1996 to separate our products from this competitor. And so this one says compare, and it shows our products versus this competitor products. And this particular one says, where does your noni juice come from? And the idea was that ours, of course, comes from noni, from Tahiti, from pure fruit. It's not dried or reconstituted in any way. This one is, again, just kind of a comparison between our two companies. And so this is one about competition. This is actually the very first marketing plan flyer, compensation plan flyer, that we produced in July of 1996. I just want to show this to you so that you can see this. This is amazing. This has such great memories for me. This was before we had ever had a flyer, video, or anything showing the compensation plan. So this one says we're driving our competition crazy. This one says, wouldn't you hate to compete with Mirinda? We've kept quiet until now. All of these flyers were created in July, August, September of 1996 to get us going, to help get our message out there. And then particularly was important when the competition started, that we stayed on point, we stayed on message, and we cleared the fog away for our customers and our IPCs so that our message would not get buried with all of the competing messages that were starting to come into the world. So we were very aggressive with that. I also want to show you, this is just a kind of a sample stack of newspapers and magazines that we did advertising, and we also there were a lot of newspapers, particularly in those early days, that had never heard of noni before. They began to cover the story of Tahitian noni juice. And so I want to show you this. This is kind of a laminated page from a USA Today. It is dated October 23rd, 1998. And this is a full-page color ad that appeared in USA Today in October of 1998. And it's particularly talking about Tahiti and telling the story of Tahiti. This is a story that appeared in a Louisiana newspaper. The headline says, "Have a Tahitian noni." And you can see the photograph that accompanied the headline. This was like a 2-page newspaper story about Tahitian noni juice. This is one from Atlanta covering Tahitian noni juice. This is one from Salt Lake City. This one, I love this one. This is a newspaper from Tahiti. Because, the Tahitians thought we were crazy at first, because these weird Americans, and thinking that we're going to make a viable and vibrant business out of noni. And so we started actually going to Tahiti quite often. In those early days, I went to Tahiti 4 or 5 times a year and became very, very familiar with, the business leaders, bankers, our partner, Edward Tuairo, and his staff, and of course all the harvesters. It kind of almost became a second home for me. And this is actually a part of a newspaper from Tahiti, where they interviewed me on one of my trips. This was from October of 1997. Okay, that's from Tahiti. This is another USA Today. This is kind of, let's see, this was from June of 1998. This, you can kind of see, that's what's on the front. And this is our full-page ad on the back page of the entertainment section of USA Today. June of 1998, USA Today. It says we're driving our competition or our competitors crazy. And the truth is we were driving our competitors crazy, and they hated it. I mean, we had the story, we had the momentum, we had the product. Nobody had anything like this, and we just turned the market on. We turned the whole industry on. This is an entire magazine, Success Magazine, is devoted to tea Shinoni juice and Morinda. This is actually a playbill or an advertisement from our feature-length movie that we did some 12, 13 years ago called Johnny Lingo. Believe it or not, I mean, this was an amazing time in our history. This is Network Marketing Lifestyle magazine that did a big spread on Morinda, interviewed me for Morinda, where we talked about Morinda being the next Coca-Cola, tea Shinoni juice being the next Coca-Cola. This is from a Utah Valley business publication. This is another one from USA Today. You can see our ad there, USA Today. It says 6,000 years in the making, tea Shinoni juice. This is from Salt Lake newspaper. This is a Seattle newspaper. This is from a Maryland newspaper. This is one of my favorites. This is from Sao Paulo, Brazil. This is when we opened up our office in Sao Paulo, Brazil. They interviewed me at that time. So, I mean, this is just a sample. These are just a few things that I pulled together just as I was getting ready for this Facebook Live. But actually, I'm collecting all of these, and there's mountains of these, newspapers and press clippings and everything, because one of these days I'm thinking that we're going to have a Morinda museum, and so I want to make sure that these things are preserved. Do you know what this is? This is the actual show itinerary for our very first convention in Salt Lake City in 1997. And so, I'm just reading all the different, we've got visitors from French Polynesia. One of our really good friends from French Polynesia worked for the Department of Agriculture. We also had the Minister of Tourism at our first convention. The one person whose name is Charles Garnier. Charles is still kind of semi-active in the government and in the agriculture department in Tahiti. He was such a good friend of ours. He would keep us informed about the Tahitian culture and the way things grow, the plants and the environment, and why the noni that comes from Tahiti is the best noni in the world. So this is our very first show itinerary. So you can see that I kind of am nostalgic about these things because they all mean something to us. We grew very, very rapidly. We sold our very first case in July of 1996. By the end of the year, by December of 1996, we were well over $5 million a month in sales. In 6 months period of time, we had gone from zero to over $5 million a month in sales. And it was all this. I traveled personally, I was kind of the road warrior for Morinda, and traveled all over the country and met with our IPCs and their groups all over the country. And let me tell you what I found. The thing that I found was that everyone had a testimonial of tea Shinoni juice. And this is what has grown our business from the very beginning, the testimonials. I wish I had time to play these tapes for you so that you could hear for yourselves these amazing stories, these amazing testimonials. We had a toll-free, I know right now the concept of a toll-free landline seems so archaic and obsolete, but this was 1996, remember? In 1997, we had a toll-free landline, toll-free number that people could call free of charge and listen to a message about tea Shinoni juice. This went on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Now, remember, this is before we had a website. In fact, we really didn't understand the power of the internet at all back then. The internet was very, very new, and we really didn't think too much of the internet at all. But this toll-free line was used constantly. In fact, our IPCs would just hand cards out with their name and our toll-free number, and they would just tell new people, please call this number, listen to the message, and then call me back. That was the system that IPCs used to build their business back in 96, 97, 98, up through in those formative years. And the thing that they would listen to was a message, first of all, a short message from Dr. Heineke, and then testimonial after testimonial, business testimonials of how great our business was. The compensation plan was unbelievable, way ahead of its time, and people were making so much money with our compensation plan, and also the product was just revolutionizing the health industry and the dietary supplement industry. Now I want to tell you a little bit about the Tahiti story that helped us build this brand. The brand is Tahitian Noni. We made a commitment early on that our noni was going to come from Tahiti and nowhere else, because we became convinced that the best noni in the world was Tahitian noni. And so we created an entire infrastructure, and the person who gets all the credit for that, his name is Edward Tuairo. He's our partner. He's kind of semi-retired right now, and his son-in-law is actually running the show in Tahiti now. But back in the day, he was working 24/7 with his staff. We had such an amazing staff in French Polynesia, in Papeete, Tahiti, that would manage all the harvesting in all the islands throughout French Polynesia, that managed the processing, managed the shipping of the puree back to the United States where we processed Tahitian noni juice. It was an amazing process, and we had to invent it from the very, very beginning. It had never been done before. No one had ever done that before. We were the pioneers, and we took great pains to do it right. And like I said, the key person that gets all the credit for that, so much credit, is Edward Tuairo and his entire team. And now we have, over the years, that original team is kind of semi-retired, and we have a new team. And they have continued the same love of Morinda, the same love of Tahitian noni juice. In fact, we just had a group in Tahiti last November, and they were able to visit our beautiful state-of-the-art processing plant in Tahiti and talk to our staff and see the entire process and how it happens. This is a story that you just don't hear every day. We created the product. We had to create the entire integrated process. We had to do it all and manage it all, build the equipment, build the facilities, and all of that has put us in this unbelievable leadership position still today. We call that tree to bottle. Simply means that we manage our process from the tree all the way to your bottle of Tahitian noni juice. We harvest the fruit, we package, and we ship it from all the islands into Tahiti, the central gathering place. From there we do the first stage of processing, and then that puree, that beautiful noni puree, is shipped out to various places around the world for the final processing of Tahitian noni juice, where Tahitian noni juice comes together and is bottled. It's a beautiful and amazing story. Again, maybe when I have my memoirs, we'll have all these stories, stories of people that I had the chance to stay with in their homes in the Marquesas Islands, people who harvest our fruit, who work with Morinda, love this association, people in the villages who harvest and help package and get ready to ship that fruit to Tahiti. And this has kind of turned their lives on, create economic opportunity and jobs on these islands. And they are so appreciative, and they have come to love Morinda because they look at this noni as their gift to the world. And that's something that we had, maybe initially we had to grasp this idea, and we've been trying to communicate this to our customers and our IPCs for all of these years. The Tahitians look at this product as their gift to the world. And we are the means, Morinda is the means where Tahitian noni juice is delivered all throughout the world. And that's the next part of my little story. Almost immediately, Tahitian noni juice started to spread beyond the borders of the United States. First, it was into Canada in 1997. In fact, we had IPCs who would wait at the border for their shipment and drive our shipment across the border in Canada, deliver their cases to all of the different people. In 1997, we had our first IPCs and customers in Europe, in Northern Europe, Sweden and Norway and Finland. In 1998, we were in Mexico, Venezuela. We opened up Tahiti. We began to sell product in Central and Western Europe. You can see that this happened so amazingly fast. We began to expand at a rate that no other company had ever expanded before, and there's only one reason: this, Tahitian noni juice. It was the same product, whether you were buying it in Germany or Mexico or Venezuela or Taiwan. It was the same product. People had the same experiences, same testimonials, different language, but the same stories. And this was the most duplicatable story and duplicatable business that the industry had ever seen, and it just grew like crazy. Through all these years, we have expanded faster. We have paid out more. Our compensation plan was, it was the envy of the entire industry. It was way ahead of our time. We pioneered concepts like dynamic compression, fast start bonus, tying auto ship into our compensation plan, global bonus pools. We pioneered all of these things. Lately, we have added to that great compensation plan by pioneering our new area developer program. And so we continue to keep pioneering, inventing, and innovating the concept of paying our IPCs very, very, very lucrative for the work that they do to spread the word of Tahitian noni juice throughout the world. We believe in creating financial independence, and this product has created more financial independence than any other single product in our industry. And we have thousands of our IPCs throughout the world who have built strong businesses, created income streams, and created their own personal financial freedom from Tahitian noni juice and from our business. Now, all this brings us to fast forward to where we are today. All these years we have continued to reinvest in the research of noni because we wanted to make sure that there was never a time that anyone knew more about noni than we did. We have invested in research. We have invested in research partnerships with universities and private research groups everywhere in the world. We have published books, published articles. We have received patents for our work and peer-reviewed articles in medical journals and peer-reviewed journals for our work. We have made noni the talk of the health industry. And everybody knows that the standard is Tahitian noni juice. This has led us to the development of new products from noni. Recently, we introduced a new line of essential oils from the noni seed using technology that we have created over those 20 years. And just this year, we introduced a new amazing skin brightening line that is based again on noni, the noni seed, the noni leaf, and the noni fruit. We call it te mana. And so you can see that the roots of noni go very deep. They go deep in our hearts and throughout our business. It started with the launch of this, Tahitian noni juice. We launched this new bottle in 2000, at the beginning of a new century. This is what everyone is familiar with now. This is like an old friend. Inside, it's exactly the same. The formula is the same. We have protected our brand. We've protected our story and our culture. Even when it's been tempting maybe to move away, we have not been tempted. We have kept our brand, kept our story, kept our culture. And it is vibrant and it moves people today the same way it moved people in 1996. So here I am in July of 2017, 21 years after we launched, after we sold our first case. I remember helping IPCs into their trunk with their case of Tishi Noni juice. I did a video in July of 1996, and in that video, maybe you've had a chance to see it. In that video, I tell everyone that Noni is going to become known by everyone throughout the world. It will be in newspapers, it will be in magazines, it will become known in the news media, in the scientific journals throughout the world, that people will know about Tishi Noni juice. And that everything that I said in that video in 1996 has come true. You can see it all around you today. And so my hope is that during this short little time we've had to spend together, that you've been able to get a little bit of perspective from me. I was there from the very beginning, and I've been there every step of the way. So many beautiful memories. So many memories of leaders, of IPCs, of partners like Ralph Heineke. Ralph Heineke was such a special, amazing human being, and he loved Tahitian Noni juice. He was convinced that Tahitian Noni juice was the product that everyone needed in their life, everyone in the world. He's no longer with us. He passed away a few years ago, but I still have the interviews on tape and emails that he sent me and letters that he wrote to me telling me how strongly he believed in Tishi Noni juice. So many others. It's impossible to list them all in just this short period of time. But I hope that at least maybe this has sparked some memories that you have if you've been with us for a long time, and kind of can get that nostalgic feeling and that beautiful feeling of Tishi Noni juice. If this is the first time you're hearing about this, just know that we have built this brand for 21 years now. The product is exactly the same. It has great impact on the human body. It did the first time we shared it in 1996, and it does today. We invite you to take this opportunity to try Tahitian Noni juice. Use this month, our celebration month, as your momentum to finally try Tahitian Noni juice. It's been great to be with you. I think it's amazing that we can talk live. You can see me in real time. I hope this has been beneficial. I also hope that we have the chance of doing this again very, very soon. You're awesome. Hope to see you soon. Thank you very much. Good evening.